Discover how a cleaner's daughter incredibly saved a millionaire with a heartwarming call. Mia darted through the crowded streets of her vibrant urban neighborhood, the sounds of honking cars and laughter filling the air like music. The sharp scent of street food wafted past her. Tacos sizzling, hot dogs popping on grills, reminders that every corner of her world was alive. With each step, Mia felt the weight of her single mother's sacrifices on her shoulders, driving her to work hard and leave an imprint on the community she loved. After school, once her books were stashed away, Mia would rush to the community center, where she volunteered without fail. Today was no different. Come on, guys, we can do this, she exclaimed, her voice rising above the chatter as she encouraged her peers to set up for tonight's fundraiser. With bright eyes, she imagined the impact they were about to make. Laughter echoed as they folded tables, decorated walls, and set up food stalls. This wasn't just another event. It was a lifeline for families struggling just like hers. Across town, high above the busy city in a sleek glass tower, billionaire Jack Thompson leaned back in his plush chair, but it felt anything but comfortable. His empire, a fortress of wealth, suddenly felt like a prison. Jack had spent decades building his business, but a health scare left him grappling with fear and loneliness, just as suffocating as the boardroom meetings where smiles never reached eyes. "I can't let them see me like this," he muttered, brushing a hand through his hair, desperation clawing at him. That evening, amidst the joy and spirit at the community center, Mia accidentally left her mother's phone on a table covered with colorful streamers. Minutes passed. Jack, in his moment of panic, fumbled for help, his hand shaking as he dialed the number connected to her community flyer. Unbeknownst to him, this call would change everything. "Hello?" A voice brightened the darkness for Jack. It was Mia, her cheerful tone slicing through his cloud of despair. Their conversation started clumsily, unsure like a first date, but it quickly morphed into something profound. "You're not alone," Mia said warmly, her heart pounding against her ribcage. "I believe in second chances." Jack felt the tightness in his chest begin to ease, as if Mia's words were unshackling the weight he had carried for too long. "How did you—" he stumbled, the sincerity of her innocence catching him off guard. "I've seen what people can do when they lift each other up. I just want to help," she responded, her voice brimming with hope and optimism that illuminated Jack's dark thoughts. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As their conversation deepened, Mia felt an irresistible surge to lift Jack, to inject a sense of community back into his life, just as her mother had done for her. She rallied her neighborhood, organizing a support network for those struggling. Families poured in to create connections, to support each other in hopes of bridging the gap between their worlds. However, whispers of Mia's newfound recognition began to swell, and with it came unexpected challenges. Could she juggle her own rising fame while staying true to her humble upbringing? Would Jack allow her to step into his polished world without losing herself? With each mounting pressure, their paths grew increasingly intertwined, leading to one lingering question. Could a working-class girl help mend the heart of a billionaire? Mia's phone buzzed relentlessly on the table, a stark reminder of her busy life. After the flood of ideas from her conversation with Jack, she knew she needed to refocus. The fundraiser at the community center was just hours away, and excitement wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She quickly gathered her things, glancing at the mess of decorations and snacks. Unity, she thought. That was their goal tonight. "Hey, Mia, are you coming back to help or what?" Tanya called out, waving a colorful banner above her head as she stood alongside their friends. "Yeah, I'm on my way," Mia shouted back, urgency fired up in her voice. She felt a bubbling giddiness, too, There was something special about people coming together, believing in hope. She headed back towards the center, feeling the cool evening air tickling her cheeks. Meanwhile, Jack stepped out of his tower into the city's chaos, feeling oddly out of place. He was used to controlled environments, but today felt different. Mia's words echoed in his mind, and he realized he needed to reconnect with the world outside his boardroom. He'd taken so much from life, but how much had he given? As he walked, Jack found himself drifting towards the community center. It was a small, humble building, alive with laughter and the rhythm of music that spilled onto the street. Oh, how he longed to feel that joy, the kind of joy he hadn't experienced in years. Concealed behind the familiarity of his power, he felt a pressing curiosity about Mia's world. Inside, Mia had transformed the center into a lively hub, lights twinkling, laughter ringing out like chimes. She arrived, sweaty and invigorated, just as families began to fill in. They were excited, proud to support one another, and amid it all, Mia stood beaming. "The silent auction is going to be a hit," Mia declared, her enthusiasm pulsating in the crowd. She clapped her hands to gather everyone's attention. "Let's kick off with some games. Who's ready to play?" They cheered, and Mia felt a surge of energy. This was her mission, she thought. She wanted more than anything to create a ripple of compassion. Yet then came a thought that halted her excitement. What if Jack Thompson showed up? She had imagined him sharp-suited, with a shroud of mystery about his wealth. Would he be comfortable in this realm of simplicity? Moments like this felt risky when intertwined with the unknown. Just as anxiety hit, the door swung open, drawing every eye in the room. There he was, Jack, standing awkwardly at the entrance, his polished shoes out of place on the scuffed floor. "Mia?" he questioned, scanning for her over the heads of the intrigued crowd. She rushed forward, the gap between their worlds collapsing with each step. As her heart raced, Mia didn't see a billionaire. She saw a man seeking warmth, perhaps even a friend. "Jack, you came." Nervously, Jack stepped inside, looking around at the vibrant display of hope and unity, a stark contrast to the cold boardrooms he was used to. I just wanted to see what this all looked like," he said. And it was as if everyone caught the tremor behind his words. Mia smiled, welcoming him with open arms. "Let me show you. You won't regret it." As they began to walk together through the makeshift carnival of connection, both felt the tug of fate, pulling them closer. But just as they settled into a budding friendship amidst the chaos, Mia overheard a whisper. One of her friends mentioning the rumors surrounding Jack's health. Could she trust him like she wanted to? Did he truly come to help, or just to spectate? The question hung in the air, as fragile as the lights overhead. Both felt the weight of their realities, and the ties that bound them together. What did I get myself into? Mia thought, as uncertainty gnawed at her heart. Would she find a way to bridge the gap and learn the truth about Jack before their worlds collided too hard? Mia guided Jack through the sea of laughter and chatter, her excitement barely contained. The community center was alive, buzzing with energy, and as they passed different booths, each one a testament to creativity and community spirit, the tension she felt began to fade. "Look at this." Mia pointed to a table piled high with handmade crafts, an elder woman proudly displaying her wares. "All local artists. The money goes back into our programs." Jack watched, intrigued, as Mia engaged with everyone, her genuine warmth lighting up the room. She had an effortless way of making connections, making people feel valued. It was something he hadn't seen in a long time. For a moment, the weight of his life slipped away. It was intoxicating. Then, out of nowhere, the whisper he'd overheard plunged back into his mind. Rumors, health issues. He could feel an underlying tension in the corner of his mind. What were they saying about him? "Want to help me with the games?" Mia asked, breaking his reverie. She grabbed his hand, pulling him to a setup where kids tossed soft rings onto the necks of colorful bottles. Sure, Jack chuckled, trying to mimic her enthusiasm. He squatted down, handing out rings to eager children, their joy infectious. They paused for a moment, both kneeling in the middle of that joyous chaos. Laughter erupted around them, and in that brief silence, Jack looked at Mia. Her eyes sparkled, reflecting not just the lights, but a sense of purpose. "Why do you do this?" he asked suddenly, more curious than ever. Mia glanced down, a brief shadow crossing her face. "I just want to make a difference. Connect people, you know? Life can often feel so disconnected. We need each other." Her words struck Jack deeply. He regarded her with a newfound seriousness. "And how do you know I'm not just here to observe? That I might be the disconnector?" Mia met his gaze. "If you were, you wouldn't have come. You didn't have to. Maybe you came because a part of you needs this as much as they do." He studied her, appreciating the sincerity etched into her expression. "Why do you feel that way?" "Because I can see it in people. I can feel it. Sometimes even the richest among us are the most alone." Jack nodded slowly, her words echoing in his chest. In that moment, he realized Mia was right. He had spent so long building walls around himself, he had forgotten what it felt like to let someone in. Then, amid the playful chaos, Mia's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, her expression shifting. The light in her eyes dimmed slightly as she scanned the text. "Everything okay?" he asked, sensing the change in her demeanor. "Yeah, just... some of the participants in the auction are falling through. We need them for the final tally." She hesitated, biting her lip. "I may have to step out for a minute and make some calls." Jack felt a twinge of disappointment. "Do you want me to come with you?" Mia's eyes brightened, and then dimmed again. "No, I'll be fine. Just one sec, I'll be right back." He watched her walk away, a sense of unease settling within him. He felt the distance grow, the walls he thought he'd begun to break down, suddenly solidifying again. But then, a crash followed by giggles broke through the air. A little boy had taken a tumble trying to retrieve his ring. Without thinking, Jack rushed over, kneeling beside the child, helping him back to his feet. The boy laughed at himself, eyes wide with gratitude. Jack smiled, feeling warmth spread in his chest, the moment igniting a flicker of hope. When Mia returned, she watched as Jack interacted with the kids. His laughter mingled with theirs, and she couldn't help but feel a pull in her heart. "See?" she said softly. "You belong here." "Maybe," he replied, looking back at her with intent. "But what happens when the walls come crashing down?" Mia's eyes held a knowing glimmer. "We rebuild, together." Just then, the MC called for everyone's attention, announcing the start of the silent auction, where Jack's presence would soon be expanded upon. As the laughter faded slowly into anticipation, Mia caught sight of a worried expression on a parent's face, whose child was visibly upset. Would she dare to shift focus from the event to help with something so personal? Unknown to Mia, her decision would soon entangle Jack deeper within her world, pushing them both to confront truths neither was ready for. Was this night the beginning of a healing journey, or just a hard lesson in vulnerability? Jack watched the bustling crowd, feeling the pulse of energy around him. The laughter and cheers were contagious, but a cloud of uncertainty hung in the back of his mind. Mia was drifting away from him, her focus narrowing to the urgent calls she needed to make. He turned back to the game, but the vibrant colors blurred. Instead, he felt the emptiness where connection should be, a hollow space that echoed the silence he had gotten so used to. The laughter around him seemed to mock this feeling of isolation, drawing him closer to thoughts he'd rather avoid. "Mia," he whispered, almost as if saying her name would tether him back to her. But she was absorbed in her phone, her fingers dancing across the screen desperately. Nearby, a girl burst into tears, clutching a plush toy that had slipped from her hands and become tangled in a nearby table. A pang of empathy hit Jack, and he stood up, shaking off his own doubts. He stepped over to the girl. "Hey there, what happened?" She pointed at the stuffed rabbit, its floppy ears caught in a mess of strings and ribbons. "I can't reach it." Her voice broke, and Jack felt an ache in his heart. "Let me help you," he said softly. Kneeling down, he carefully untangled the toy. The girl's face lit up, and as he handed it back to her, she wrapped her arms around his neck, squeezing tightly. "Thank you," she squeaked, her tears quickly turning to giggles again. Jack smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. It was a simple moment, yet powerful. Maybe Mia was right. Maybe stepping out from behind his walls was worth it, at least for a little while. As he stood back up, he caught Mia's eye. She was watching him, a small smile creeping back onto her face. The moment felt like a bridge being built between them. But there was no time to dwell. The MC's voice rang out again, and the community spirit surged again as people filtered to the auction tables. Jack felt a swell of excitement. This might just be the push he needed to leave his own fears behind, even if just temporarily. "Hey, I want you to be my partner for the auction," Mia called to him, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. "Okay," he replied, surprised by his own eagerness as he moved toward her. As participants began to bid, they stood together, arms brushing against each other's. It felt electric. Briefly, he lost himself in the thrill of the competition. Mia pointed to various items, explaining their significance with a passion that ignited flames of admiration in Jack's chest. Yet, amid this burst of energy, her phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, and he noticed the look of concern creasing her brow. "Mia?" he asked, wary now. One of the donors." She glanced again at the screen, anxiety sharpening her features. "They might back out at the last minute. I need to take this." Jack's heart sank slightly. "Do you want me to—" "No, I'll be quick." She bit her lip, her expression shifting to one of determination. He nodded, biting back the frustration building inside him. He needed her focus, but more than that, he wanted her to be okay, to not carry the weight of everyone's expectations alone. As she stepped away, Jack felt that hollow space widen again. Looking over the bidding tables, he realized that he wanted to do more. He wanted to feel that spark again, that connection not just with Mia, but with everyone around him. In a sudden burst of courage, he approached the bidding area. Without thinking, he raised his hand, making an unexpected bid on a beautiful painting that caught his eye. The crowd hushed and turned to him, curious. With the buzz of voices, he announced, "I'll take it." The moment felt exhilarating, breaking another wall he had built for himself. Jack turned to see Mia returning, stunned as she heard the uproar. Her face brightened, a mix of surprise and pride. "What just happened?" she asked, a laugh escaping her lips. "I think I'm diving in," he replied, feeling bold. And in that moment, as cheers erupted, a wave of realization rushed over him. What if getting involved at the community level led him to confront more than just his own fears? As they stood together, the weight of unspoken truths lingered, and Jack knew that something monumental was about to unfold. But what would it reveal about them both? As the cheers of the crowd faded, Jack felt a rush of exhilaration mixed with uncertainty. He had taken a leap, but a part of him wondered if he had jumped too far or too fast. How would Mia react? Would she see this as a true step forward, or just another frantic attempt at escaping his own doubts? Mia stood there, her eyes sparkling with surprise. She rushed back, her enthusiasm washing over him like a wave. "Jack, that was amazing. I can't believe you did that." She grabbed his hand, squeezing it, and he felt her warmth flow into him. I thought it was time to take a stand," he admitted, still feeling a buzz from the bid. The painting now felt like a symbol of courage rather than just a piece of decor. But I didn't think about the consequences. Mia tilted her head, searching his eyes. No, this is a huge step. You're showing everyone, including yourself, that you want to be here, that you want to be part of this. The way she said it made him feel like he was standing on a cliff, teetering between the fear of falling and the thrill of flying. He managed a smile, feeling a hint of hope bloom. Suddenly, the MC called for the bid on the painting. "We have a surprise bidder. What will our brave friend take home today? Let's go for it, folks." Jack felt a surge of adrenaline. The room felt electric, the energy palpable. As the auction continued, they bid together, Mia's enthusiasm urging him on. Together, they called out numbers, laughed over ridiculous items like a giant inflatable flamingo, and even exchanged playful bets about who would win the newest kitchen gadgets. Just as they began racking up victories, Mia's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, and the joy in her eyes flickered for just a moment. Jack's heart sank. He sort of knew what was coming. "Mia, are you okay?" he asked gently, sensing the shadow creeping across her bright aura. I just need to take this one more time. It's about the donor." "Right, go ahead," he said, trying to sound casual, though disappointment knitted itself in his stomach. She hurried off again, and he watched her disappear into the crowd, the warmth of connection swiftly dissipating into a cold emptiness. In that moment, he realized what he truly longed for. It wasn't just the thrill of the auction. It was the companionship, the meaningful conversations, the moments of laughter that intertwined them. Determined not to let the weight of loneliness pull him down, he turned back to the auction. A group of lively couples was crowded around a table discussing a new travel package. Jack approached and inserted himself into the conversation. Each smile, each laugh, felt like stitching the fabric of community he so desperately wanted to be a part of, one thread at a time. "Mia always says experiences are worth more than things," he chimed in, recalling her earlier words with fondness. The group turned to him, nodding in agreement. As bids continued to climb higher, he felt an undeniable shift within him. He had started off wanting to feel connected. Now he was beginning to embody that very connection he craved. Maybe here, among strangers, he was beginning to learn how to breathe life back into his existence. Mia returned, her brow furrowed, and he caught the slight glimmer of frustration at the corners of her mouth. "What did I miss?" "Just the joy of letting go," he said, feeling lighter. But would she ever see him the way he began to envision himself? Just as he opened his mouth to share his thoughts, a sudden commotion erupted from the back of the tent. Gasps filled the air, drawing the attention of the entire gathering. Without thinking, Jack and Mia turned toward the noise, hearts pounding in their chests. "What's happening?" she asked, her earlier concerns washed away momentarily by curiosity. "I don't know," he replied, his own heart racing. "But it seems like something important is about to happen." Together, they stepped closer to the scene that was unfolding, both of them clutching tightly to the thread that had woven them back together. What they would find at that moment might alter the course of their lives forever. But why was everything suddenly about to change? As Jack and Mia pushed through the throng of people, they were greeted by a sight that turned their world upside down. A few feet away, a man in an expensive suit lay sprawled on the ground, his face pale and eyes closed. The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, a blend of concern and shock. Jack felt his heart drop. Everything within him urged him to act. "Mia, stay back," he said urgently, instinctively wanting to shield her from whatever was happening. But instead of retreating, she held her ground, her fierce expression matching the worry tightening his chest. "I'm not leaving you, Jack. We need to help," she insisted, her voice steady despite the panic swirling around them. People began to step forward, but nobody knew what to do. Jack's instincts kicked in. He moved closer, looking for signs of life. "Is anyone a doctor?" he shouted, his voice cutting through the noise. The panic of the crowd was palpable, but he couldn't focus on that now. All he could think of was getting to this man before it was too late. Mia followed him, her determination fueling him deeper into the scene. "I'll call 911, she yelled, pulling out her phone. Jack never took his eyes off the man, watching for even the smallest sign of movement. The man's suit was pristine, likely worth more than Jack's entire wardrobe. Yet here he was, vulnerable and still. "Mia, hurry!" Jack shouted again, leaning down. There was a faint pulse. Jack's fingers brushed against the man's wrist. Relief washed over him, but it was fleeting. They needed help, and they needed it fast. Just then, a woman rushed over from the crowd. "I'm a nurse," she announced, dropping to the ground beside them. Jack moved aside, and she pinned the man's arm, checking for responsiveness. "We need to keep him stable. Does anyone have a water bottle?" Mia reappeared at Jack's side, her phone clutched tightly as she scanned the crowd. "The ambulance is on the way," she said quickly. "Thank God," Jack breathed. His heart raced, not just from the urgency of the situation, but from the realization that amidst the chaos, he had found his footing. Helping this man suddenly felt like the most important thing he had ever done. He locked eyes with Mia, and the shared hope surged between them. As the crowd began to thin, the nurse tended to the man. "Stay with us, sir," she urged, her voice calm as she began to perform basic first aid. Jack watched in awe, grateful for this stranger stepping up. Mia squeezed his hand. "Jack, I've never seen you like this before," she whispered, admiration shining in her eyes. Something flickered within him. It was ambition mixed with newfound clarity. But just as the paramedics arrived, a sudden thought struck Jack. What if this man is important? What if he holds the key to something bigger than ourselves? The moment hung thick in the air, full of possibility. The paramedics took charge, rushing in to carry the man away. The crowd gasped, faces etched with worry and anticipation. As they lifted the unconscious figure onto a gurney, Jack felt a pang of urgency. Would this man's life change everything for them? As the echoes of sirens faded into the night, Jack turned to Mia. "There's something more here. I can feel it," he said, wondering if this moment would bind them together even further. "Maybe we've just scratched the surface," Mia replied, her voice almost a whisper. And in that moment, they both felt it, a thread drawing them closer and hinting at a deeper connection, igniting a spark neither of them expected. But with this spark came questions, shadows of possibilities that loomed just ahead. What would happen when they uncovered the man's identity? Now, with the night still unfolding, both of them held their breath, waiting for the unexpected turns that lay ahead. What revelation would change everything they thought they knew? The air was thick as Jack and Mia made their way back toward the street, the sounds of the ambulance fading like a distant memory. The chaos of the crowd dissipated, but the weight of what had just happened clung to them. Jack's heart still raced, not just from the adrenaline of emergency, but from the urgency he now felt surging through his veins. "Mia," Jack said, stopping abruptly. He faced her as the moonlight glinted off her earnest expression. "What if we find out who that man is? What if he needs help, other than what the paramedics can provide?" Mia's brow furrowed in thought. "You mean like help getting his life back together? Maybe he's in trouble in other ways." She hesitated, giving voice to fears that had been dancing in the back of her mind since the moment they saw him. Jack nodded, feeling that familiar spark of determination flicker within. "Exactly. We might not have all the resources, but we could at least try to make sure he's okay. There's more to this. I just know it." "Do you think anyone even knows who he is?" Mia asked, her voice laced with a blend of curiosity and concern. "Not yet. But with what I saw in his eyes, there's something about him that says he's important." Maybe even someone powerful, Jack replied. The urgency was palpable. They both could feel it. Mia took a deep breath, her eyes widening with enthusiasm. Let's find out. Maybe we can track him down at the hospital. With newfound resolve, they pulled their phones from their pockets, each running searches. As they walked, Jack started listing possible hospitals nearby. The nearest one is just a few blocks away. We could get there in 10 minutes. Perfect, Mia said. And maybe we can ask if he's okay. As they hurried along the sidewalk, Jack replayed the scene in his mind. The man's expensive suit, the way the crowd had shifted from panic to support. But it was the eyes that haunted him most. They'd held a heaviness that hinted at secrets. They arrived at the hospital and slipped through the emergency entrance. The sterile smell hit them like a wall. Jack felt a knot twist in his stomach, but he pushed it down. They needed answers. After what felt like an eternity, a nurse emerged from a busy corridor. Jack approached her, his heart pounding. Excuse me. We were at the scene where the man in the suit collapsed. Can you tell us if he's okay? The nurse looked up, momentarily surprised by their earnestness. She shook her head. I can't give out information without family presence, but I can tell you he's in stable condition. Relief flooded through Jack, but it was mixed with frustration. No identity, no clear path forward. Is there any way we can find out who his family is? Someone must know him. The nurse hesitated, then nodded slowly. If you wait a moment, I can ask the doctor if he can provide any information. As they waited, Mia squeezed Jack's hand. What if there's something more to this? What if his story could intertwine with ours in a way we never imagined? A chill of anticipation raced across Jack's skin. That's what I'm hoping. But in the meantime, we need to keep our eyes and ears open. This is just the beginning. Just then, the doctor emerged from behind the doors, uncertainty lining his face. Are you two the ones who found him? Jack nodded, his heart racing anew. Yes. What can you tell us? The doctor looked at them, weighing his words carefully. You might want to sit. What you're about to hear could change everything. Jack and Mia exchanged a glance, the gravity of the moment settling like a weight, a heavy foil to their earlier excitement. What lay ahead felt like uncharted territory, a story waiting to unfold. Would uncovering the man's past reveal not just his secrets, but also a new path for their own lives? With bated breath, they leaned in closer, waiting for the revelation that might just alter their fate forever. The doctor took a deep breath, his eyes darting between Jack and Mia. The man you found, his name is Robert Sinclair. He's a prominent businessman in the community, but he has been, well, let's just say he was under a lot of strain when he collapsed. Jack felt his stomach drop at the mention of the name. A millionaire like Sinclair? He had seen the man's suit, the confidence that had filled the air around him. But there was a vulnerability behind those eyes, a struggle that had not been obvious from the outside. Strain? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. You mean stress? Yes, but it's more complicated than that, the doctor replied, glancing around the busy hallway as if gauging who might hear. Mr. Sinclair has been dealing with some personal and financial issues. We found medication in his system that suggests he might have been self-medicating for anxiety and depression. Wow, Jack breathed, running a hand through his hair. Mia's expression shifted from concern to understanding. We thought he might be powerful and together, but he's struggling. What could we do to help him? The doctor hesitated. It's a sensitive situation. You're not related to him. But we found him, Jack insisted. We can't just turn away now. Mia nodded, her determination matching Jack's. We'd like to reach out to him if he wakes up. Maybe there's a way we can support him, even if it's just being someone to talk to. The doctor appeared conflicted, then sighed. If you're truly willing, I can give you the contact information for his assistant. But be warned, there are many layers to Mr. Sinclair's life you might not want to unravel. Jack exchanged a look with Mia. We're ready for whatever it takes, he assured the doctor. We want to help. The doctor nodded, pulling out a business card from his pocket. Here. His assistant should know how to proceed. But remember, you're stepping into a world that may be uncomfortable and complicated. As they left the hospital, the weight of the universe seemed to rest on their shoulders. They stepped into the night air, a deep inhale filling their lungs with fresh hope. Jack felt the thrill of the unknown surging inside him. Did you hear that? Mia asked, her eyes sparkling. We could actually make a difference. Yeah, Jack said, his heart racing still. But we have to be careful. There's a lot we don't know. If we dig too deep, we might find things we're not prepared to handle. But what if we uncover something that changes everything for him? For us? Mia countered, her excitement illuminating the shadows of doubt. Jack nodded slowly, weighing her words. There was no turning back now. He could feel it in his bones. Let's reach out to his assistant tomorrow. If Robert Sinclair is as powerful as they say, we might just see a whole new world open up for us. Yes, Mia exclaimed, bouncing on her heels. Imagine the possibilities. As they walked away, the realization loomed heavy in the air. They were no longer just bystanders. They were stepping into Robert Sinclair's world, and it could lead them anywhere. Perhaps even toward a destiny neither of them had ever imagined. The sun began to rise, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, and they felt an unshakable sense of purpose washing over them. But still, doubt lingered. What if they were in way over their heads? Could they truly navigate the intricate web of Sinclair's life without losing themselves in the process? The pull of the unknown was loud, almost deafening, and as Jack looked over at Mia, he wondered what they might uncover about themselves in the journey ahead. For better or worse, they were about to embark on an adventure that could change everything. The next morning, Jack and Mia met outside a small cafe. The smell of coffee filled the air, blending with the crispness of an early spring morning. Jack fiddled with his phone, the business card from the doctor firmly in his hand. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the day ahead. Ready? Mia asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. Yeah, I guess, Jack replied, his heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. They were stepping into Robert Sinclair's world. I'm just nervous, Mia finished for him. Me too, but we can't turn back now. We have to reach out. They found a table outside and settled in, the sun warming their faces. Jack dialed the number on Sinclair's assistant's card. Mia leaned closer, her fingers tapping on the table in rhythm with his heartbeat. On the third ring, a crisp voice answered, Valerie Harris. Hi, Ms. Harris. This is Jack Dalton, and I'm with Mia. Mr. Sinclair's identity is sensitive, Valerie interjected, her tone professional yet firm. I can't provide information on him unless... We found him at the park last night, Jack rushed. He collapsed, and we want to help him. There was a brief silence on the other end. Jack exchanged worried glances with Mia. Wait. You found him? Valerie asked, her tone shifting slightly to one of concern. Is he okay? We don't know yet. He's in the hospital, but we're hoping to meet and I'll speak with him as soon as he's awake. Can I take your number? I'll have him reach out if he wants. Jack felt relief wash over him. Sure, thank you. After hanging up, Mia's eyes sparkled with hope. What now? We wait. Jack leaned back, still aware of the enormity of what they had just done. They had crossed a line into a world filled with uncertainties. Mia leaned in, her voice a mix of excitement and anxiety. What do you think he'll say? What if he thinks we're just meddling? Or worse, Jack murmured. What if he doesn't want our help? As they sipped their coffee, Jack felt the hours stretch on forever. The weight of expectation hung between them. Hours passed. They talked about everything and nothing to fill the silence. Mia shared her dreams of traveling the world, while Jack spoke about his passion for photography, capturing moments just like the one they were living. But in the back of their minds lingered thoughts of Sinclair. Finally, as the sun began to set, Jack's phone chimed with a message. His heart raced as he opened it. Mr. Sinclair would like to meet with you tomorrow at his office. Please arrive by 10 a.m. He glanced at Mia, who exploded with excitement. This is it. We're actually going to meet him. But what do we say? Jack's enthusiasm was tangled with dread. What if it doesn't go as we expect? What if he doesn't trust us? That's a risk we have to take, Mia replied, her eyes steady. We're just trying to help. That's not a bad thing. As they walked back to their cars, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change. They were going to meet a man whose world was shrouded in secrets and pressures they couldn't yet comprehend. What if Robert Sinclair is more than just a businessman? What if he needs more than coffee and conversation? Jack pondered aloud, wondering if they were truly prepared for whatever lay ahead. Their conversation faded into the evening glow, both carrying an unspoken hope that the day to come would bring answers, and perhaps reveal something deeper about themselves in the process. With a heavy heart and flickering hope, they knew their meeting with Sinclair could change everything. But would they be ready for the truth? The next morning, the sun spilled through the gaps in the curtains as Jack and Mia prepared for their big meeting. They both dressed carefully, wanting to appear confident yet approachable. Jack adjusted his collar nervously, while Mia fiddled with her hair in the bathroom mirror. A buzz of excitement mixed with anxiety danced between them. You ready? She asked, stepping out, her voice steady. Jack nodded, though his stomach felt like it was twisting into knots. We'll take it one step at a time. Holding hands, they stepped out of the cafe and into the bright morning light. The journey to Robert Sinclair's office felt surreal, the weight of their expectations hanging heavily in the air between them like a balloon ready to pop. Arriving at the sleek building, Jack felt an overwhelming sense of intimidation. The glass facade towered above them, reflecting their uncertain expressions. This is it, he whispered, seeking comfort in Mia's grip. Together? She asked, her eyes sparkling with resolve. Together. He took a deep breath, a nod sealing their bond as they entered the reception. As they approached the receptionist, Mia's confidence buoyed him. We're here to see Mr. Sinclair, Mia stated, her tone clear and precise. Please take a seat. I'll inform him you've arrived. The receptionist's cool demeanor mirrored the polished environment around them, making Jack's heart race in anticipation. Minutes felt like hours as they waited, the plush chairs cocooning them in a serene yet odd discomfort. Jack's mind swirled with questions. Would Mr. Sinclair be grateful? Sad? Angry? Then a door opened, and a tall figure stepped out. Robert Sinclair appeared, looking much more human than the image Jack had conjured. His suit was impeccable, yet the shadows under his eyes betrayed lingering fatigue and struggle. Jack, Mia? His voice was deep but welcoming. Thank you for coming. Jack and Mia stood, the air charged with an electric curiosity. Mia stepped forward cautiously, her voice steady. We wanted to see if you're okay, if you need anything. Robert's expression softened, a flicker of surprise evident on his face. I appreciate that. Most people wouldn't care. Please come into my office. They followed him down a sleek hallway adorned with modern art. It felt simultaneously intimidating and inviting. Inside his office, Robert gestured for them to sit. He sank into his chair, rubbing his temples. I need to admit, I have been going through a lot recently. Sometimes it feels as if everything I built is crumbling. Mia leaned forward, empathy radiating from her. We understand. We're just regular people. but we want to help. You don't have to go through it all alone." A wistful smile crossed Robert's face. "You're surprisingly refreshing." He leaned back, letting out a long sigh. It's rare to meet someone with such genuine care. Jack felt a spark ignite. "That's what your collapse meant to us. We saw a man lost, and we believed he deserved a second chance, same as anyone else." The vulnerability hung in the air, tangible and real. Robert studied their faces, and Jack could see walls slowly crumbling with each passing moment. "How can you help me? I mean, really?" Robert asked, pulling the thread of fear and skepticism. "Sometimes it just starts with a conversation," Mia replied, her voice soft but strong. "Sharing struggles brings healing. You don't have to hide." In that moment, the walls in Sinclair's world began to dissolve, if just slightly. "You're both remarkable." He glanced out the window, eyes lost in thought. "I've shut everyone out, even those I love. The pressure seemed easier to bear alone." Jack leaned forward, a newfound certainty boiling within him. "You also create an opportunity for us. Helping you could mean helping so many others. We could build something together. Change the narrative." Robert blinked, acknowledging the truth behind Jack's words. "You believe we can really make a difference?" "Absolutely," Mia assured him, her energy infectious. "We can't fix everything at once, but little by little we can weave a fabric of support." Robert finally smiled, a genuine spark igniting in his eyes. "You inspire me." Hope flooded the room, lifting the heaviness that had settled in. They began to discuss ideas, plans, and possibilities, how they would collaborate to heal not only Robert's spirit, but also reach out to those in the community. An hour later, as they stood to leave, Jack's heart felt lighter. "How do we keep this going? We want to be part of your journey, not just spectators." Robert nodded appreciatively. "Stay in touch. I'll need you both during this transition. You bring something different to my life, and I want to nurture it." Exiting his office, Jack and Mia exchanged glances, excitement bubbling between them. They stepped into the world outside, sun flooding over them like hope breaking through clouds. "We did it," Mia exclaimed, her voice bright. "This is just the beginning." Jack grinned, a flutter of optimism soaring within him. Through their compassion, they'd created a connection that would weave into the fabric of their lives in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. As they walked away from the towering glass structure, the air buzzed with possibilities. They weren't just helping Robert. They were transforming their community together. They embraced the adventure stretching before them, with the promise of deep friendships and healing echoing in their hearts. This wasn't just a chance to rewrite Robert's story. It was a chance to uncover their own destinies too. And each step they took felt like returning home, to themselves and each other. Now, if you're feeling the rush of inspiration from this incredible transformation, don't wait, not even one more second, to subscribe immediately to the channel to catch the next exclusive stories. Your support is what keeps these powerful narratives alive. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message of hope. And we want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and feelings about this epic ending below. Plus, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation, because true fans understand the importance of sharing uplifting stories. This is the moment to show your support.